press briefing live. I'd like to invite the Chief Administrator of the Ministry of Information, the Chief Spokesperson of the Government of Liberia, Honorable Josiah Joekai, who will make his introductory comments, after which we will officially introduce to you our guests. Mr. Joekai.
Pleasant good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. This is LB Online TV. We're live here at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism on the regular.
I'm not sure why the family is always thinking ELBC before the press conference and not all the other independent media entities. ELBC is a government institution. Doing what they're supposed to do. These independent people are rendering service to you. So if you want to thank ELBC for always coming, as you do from the beginning, thank them too.
Thank you all.
So it's good to be here again. And for me personally, as the Minister of Information, it is pleasing to note that we have made this theater, Charles William Hall conference room, very active and full of activities. And I want to really appreciate all of you members of the press that are coming most times, 3 times a week now, to cover the activities of the government here at the Ministry of Information. As you all may be aware, there was this mudslide in River 6. The National Disaster Relief Agency, headed by my dear friend, they've been very engaged, the armed forces of Liberia, different actors, and engaged. Well, then yesterday we decided to take the situation there to a higher level, when the Vice President led the government delegation to visit the scene of the mudslide. Of course, you were joined by most of the actors, including the Executive Director. They met with families of those who lost their lives, met with some of the victims that are still alive, identified with them, prayed with them, gave them relief. And we thought it was the right thing to do. When our citizens are caught in those kinds of situations, yes, others can go there. But when you see representation at the highest level, the president, the vice president, all of that, it really, really shows that the government is concerned. And we were glad that our vice president, our able vice president, was able to take charge and take an entire delegation there. National Security Advisor Samuel Kofi Woods was part of the delegation, and we can say that the people were happy to have received them. The head of the National Disaster Relief Agency will be speaking here today. I'm sure he will give much more details as to what happened there. But recently we found out that there were people in our country who were doing sand money and something they call black sand. Citizen journalism is good. We came across a video showing a huge quantity of what they call black sand being prepared for exportation. That action caught the attention of the cabinet, and at yesterday's cabinet meeting, the decision was taken that the Ministry of Mines and Energy, Lands is going away, to spearhead an investigation into what is happening. But meanwhile, before that investigation can go on, they're going to ensure that that mining of black sand is stopped. Any exportation of the black sand will also be stopped. So we want to appreciate the citizen journalists who did this beautiful video showing exactly the extent to which that situation was taking place, that made the government to be aware, and the government has moved very quickly to act in ensuring the protection of our landscape. The quantity of sand that we saw, black sand, whatever they call it, that was being docked around and ready for exploitation is alarming. But as soon as the Ministry of Mines and Energy can conclude their investigation, we'll know exactly what the scope of that is. We're also going to be interested in testing what they're carrying that they call black sand. We've done some research on it and found out that black sand can be used to do a number of things. And as far as we know, there's no concession anywhere with any group of people to be doing the mining of black sand in our country. So that appears to be something illicit, but the investigation will determine full scope of what has happened and further actions to be taken and announced. Talking about the cabinet, yesterday was the third of the President's cabinet meeting. And basically, you all know we have this 100-day deliverables. We wanted to know where we are. So we were briefed, the cabinet was briefed on where we are with the execution of the 100-day deliverables. And I can say with all certainty, even in the absence of budgetary allocations, because the national budget is not yet passed, what we listened to yesterday as a briefing is very impressive. But at the end of the entire process, we will know exactly what was achieved. And one of the things the Ministry of Information will do at the end of the process, we're going to be launching the maiden edition of what will be a quarterly magazine that will be published by the Ministry of Information. And that quarterly magazine, the maiden edition, will come at the end of the period for the 100-day deliverables, and it will catalog everything that was achieved sector by sector, agency by agency, ministry by ministry in that maiden edition of the MICAT magazine. And thanks to Daniel Sano again, along with Nat Bije, who will be his assistant minister, both technical services. They're doing a wonderful job. You know, they're going to be running the New Liberia newspaper, they're running the magazine. We intend to bring the CPR back, the Central Printing Incorporated, that will print all government documentation that's also on their department. So they did a great job from the very beginning without any resource allocation, and I want to again publicly say that I'm very pleased with the team. Yesterday, the rest of my people went for their confirmation hearing. I'm hoping that today in plenary they will be confirmed so that we'll have a full team that starts to do government's job. Also at that press conference yesterday, we had the opportunity to see the budget in a deeper way. You know, when the national budget is submitted, it's just that holistic, huge structure. But yesterday, the budget minister was able to brief us, break down everything sector by sector, where the money going, what should be done here, and the entire cabinet now has an appreciation of what they submitted. But as we know, the budget is not a budget until it comes from the national legislature. Of course, clearly we know that at the end, some of the figures will change because ministries and agencies are concerned about the size of their envelope. Ministry of Information, for example, I said here the other day that we have projected 2.8 million. 2.1 of that is on personnel costs, and I will keep saying this. I don't believe the ministry has a workforce that takes 2.1 million in 12 months. I don't believe that. That's why we've embraced the action of the CSA to do this holistic personnel audit of all 103 government spending entities, and that will give us a clear picture as to what the personnel realities are. Of course, he's here today to give you additional news. He's making a lot of news because he inherited a very rotten system, very rotten civil service. The civil service agency originally charged with the responsibility to handle company employment, especially for those who are civil servants, was stopped from doing their job in the last 6 years. There was clear usurpation, and somebody somewhere was doing their job, placing people on payroll before processing personnel action notices, and all of that led us to here. You saw at the mansion the other day, some 700 persons who are supposed to be what they call people on the supplementary payroll, protesting, or doing a breach of the sanctity of the executive mansion. But we are hoping and we cooperate with the CSA so that they lay all of these things to rest. And the cabinet also were able to get briefing on the president's legislative agenda. I'm particularly interested in one, that is the establishment of the National Tourism Authority. The legal advisor to the president indicated clearly at the cabinet yesterday that in the next couple of weeks, we're not talking months, they're going to have the draft ready for that bill establishing the National Tourism Authority. This is something we eagerly look forward to because I think to a greater extent, culture, tourism, and all of that, they appear to be buried here. This place is a communication ministry. So once we have them in an environment where they have autonomy, we have a different procedure of recruiting the people who will go there, not just presidential appointment, ordinarily, through serious vetting processes that will recruit the appropriate professional people, then we can be assured that tourism will boom once again in our country. To close, there is an idea that we were touring with in the cabinet yesterday. It's very important. Those of you who are journalists, who travel everywhere, you know that a country as old as ours, there are places you go, you see school buildings, classrooms, and students are sitting on the floor. So we're thinking about policy, we're still having discussion around it, but it will be called a one child, one chair policy. What our policy will seek to do is that everywhere you have a school building where students are, nobody will sit on a piece of block, nobody will sit on the floor. Every child who enters a classroom will have a chair to sit on. Very decent policy, the details have been worked out, but it's important to just throw it up because that is a huge problem here with students in different places, even the places. It's so one thing. The Minister of Education was able to start a tour. She was in the Southeast. She's preparing to come here at MICAT to give you a clear picture of what she was able to see on that tour, and she will continue to the rest of the country. The president was keen yesterday also to say he's not interested in ministers and head of agencies, particularly those who have bearing on the legal country just sitting in their offices. They should be out there. They should know the reality of the situation in the county. If you don't know what the conditions are, you can't solve it. So people will not be Monrovia leaders. They will not be armchair leaders. They're going to get in the field, get an impression and feel of what is happening there so that you get more motivated to see the need to solve some of the problems we've inherited. Having said that, I don't want to take up all of your time, so let me quickly invite the Director General of the Civil Service Agency. I will give you some news. There's been apprehension. I see what the news got ahead and 40,000 people lost their job. People shaking. Maybe after he speaks, the nerves will calm down. Mr. Gigi.
Thank you so much. You know, Mr. Minister, this historic Chancellor press reading room is becoming a familiar place for me, and I'm really enjoying it. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you. I want to recognize the leaders from the disaster management institution here. My deputies, the Deputy Director General for Human Resource Management and Policy, Mr. Darlington A.B. Smith, who just walked out. Donald Miayen is going to join us shortly. He is the Deputy Director General for Administration at the Civil Service Agency. To you, our esteemed media, other officials of government here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Civil Service Agency, I extend profound thanks and appreciation to Minister Jeremy M.Pierre and the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism family for allowing the Civil Service Agency to use this great platform to update the Liberian people on the state of affairs of the public service. In our last press briefing, we announced that the WIA administration left us with an excessively bloated payroll encompassing 67,746 personnel across 103 governmental spending entities. This translates to an alarming average monthly wage expenditure of $23,543,874.64 United States dollars. In addition to this already strenuous financial burden on the government, from January 1st to December 31st, 2023 alone, we lost $6.1 million that was spent on independent consultants and consultancy firms. As a result of this grave situation, the payroll is inundated with a huge number of ghosts, unqualified individuals serving in critical positions, and individuals who did not complete their personnel action notices in keeping with the Civil Service Act, the Civil Service Standing Orders of 2012, and the revised Human Resource Policy Manual of 2014. This grave situation has significantly incapacitated the public service, weakening its performance and productivity. This critical national issue requires urgent and immediate attention. The civil service is on course with ongoing civil service reform efforts to address these critical national issues. First and foremost, the Personnel Action Notice, which is popularly referred to as PAN, is the employment instrument the Civil Service Agency uses to hire, promote public services. Personnel action notices are therefore essential documents that outline the employment status, responsibilities, and benefits of individual employees. However, a concerning issue has emerged. Many civil servants do not have PANs or possess incomplete PANs, leading to administrative and legal challenges. 3,600 civil servants across various government spending entities who were put on the government's centralized payroll in 2019 and do not have PANs. Similarly, an estimated 20,405 employees possess incomplete PANs from payroll activities from 2019. This total 40,405 employees in both categories. This discrepancy really PANs employees may face uncertainties regarding their employment status, entitlements, and career progression. The absence or incompleteness of PANs among civil servants can have far-reaching consequences on both individuals and the overall efficiency of government operations. Some key implications include legal vulnerability, administrative inefficiencies, and lack of accountability. Let us take, for example, employees without PANs risk facing legal challenges regarding their employment rights, benefits, and responsibilities. Incomplete PANs may also lead to disputes in job classifications, salaries, and promotions. Improper documentation can hinder the effective management of human resources within government agencies. it may result in delays in processing employee benefits, performance evaluations, and disciplinary actions. Incomplete or missing PANs make tracking and monitoring civil servants' performance and conduct difficult. This lack of accountability can undermine transparency and integrity within the civil service. In light of this development, the CSA has requested all heads of government spending entities to ensure that employees who were added to the payroll during the period of July 2019 to December 2023 and whose status has not been regularized by the Civil Service Agency work with their respective human resource directors to proceed to the Civil Service Agency and have their personnel action notices properly processed within a grace period of 90 days, beginning April 2nd to June 30th, 2024. The spending entities must provide a comprehensive personnel listing as a prerequisite to processing each employee's PAN. We encourage all spending entities to take note of the 90-day period and have their respective human resource directors coordinate with the corresponding analysts at the CSA to address these issues. The CSA has the equipped specialized team to handle the influx of spending entities that will begin PAN proceedings with our Employment Services Division. Established guidelines and procedures are in place for issuing, maintaining, and updating PANs for all civil servants. As you may recall, on 16 February 2024, the Civil Service Agency, under the direction of Mr. Alfred Josiah, then officer in charge, in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, temporarily froze select human resource operations. The measure was necessary to maintain order in how spending entities move staff around, especially when most entities were still controlled by officers in charge. We will not lift the entire freeze. Today, we are lifting the freeze only for direct replacement. The freeze on new hires and transfers will be lifted after the General Auditing Commission conducts the payroll compliance audit. The Civil Service Agency has reached this decision because a significant percentage of GOL spending entities has been staffed with the appropriate statutory heads. The Civil Service Agency wishes to emphatically remind all heads of spending entities that in reference to Chapters 3 and 4 of the Standing Orders of the Civil Service 2012, all the following human resource movements must meet approval of the Director General before implementation. Intra and inter-agency transfers, promotions and demotions, direct replacements and change of employees' payroll account details. With the exception of the last point listed, all human resource actions must duly be processed using the appropriate personnel action notice as required by Section 35 of the Civil Service Revised Human Resource Policy Manual of September 2014. Furthermore, I am pleased to announce the following actions taken so far by the CSA as part of the ongoing payroll cleanup process. The Civil Service Agency recorded 27 direct replacements in December. This category primarily includes instances where existing employees departed from their roles for reasons such as death, resignation, or transfer to other departments. To ensure continuity and efficiency in operations, spending entities can replace these departing employees with candidates possessing the requisite skills and expertise at the same salary as the replacement processes were executed through the official CSA email chain and personnel action notices as required by law. 16 employees were processed through reinstatement. Reinstatement typically involves returning employees from serving a suspension for abandonment, political leave, and issues of insubordination and attendance. After being blocked by the CSA, the concerned spending entity will request that the offending employee be reinstated and removed from block after the punishment period expires. This action is directly communicated to the CSA through a formal communication addressed to the Director General. In December 2023, 15 new hires were made to violate former President George Weah's presidential directive of December 18, 2023. The new hires were primarily from the Liberia Land Authority and the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. The new hires were also conducted through emails requested by the Land Authority and the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. Consequently, the 8 employees from the Land Authority are blocked and removed from the payroll. Unfortunately, the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning had already approved its payroll, meaning the additional 7 employees from the ministry will be blocked as of April 24 and subsequently removed from the payroll. This identification process of new hires in December at various spending entities continues. The next time when we are here, we'll give you updates on additional information as the number of people blocked in violation of the presidential directive. The CSA is mandated to monitor all civil servants' performance. In this regard, attendance is critical to ensure the evaluation of performance. Accordingly, the Civil Service Standing Orders, Sections 5.1.2, all agency heads shall maintain attendance records and submit a monthly report to the CSA on the approved revised attendance report form. The attendance report form shall reach the CSA on or before the 10th day of the month following the period covered by the report. This form can be obtained in soft copy by your human resource directors from Research, Strategic Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation Division at CSA. However, many spending entities are either not reporting timely or not reporting at all. In this regard, the CSA will, as of April 2024, hold HRs accountable for not submitting attendance reports in accordance with the law. The CSA has also blocked and removed 41 individuals representing ghosts who were illegally on the Liberia Land Authority payroll, and that has been effected, as I indicated. So those ghost names are no longer on the payroll and will not reappear on the payroll. We have meticulously drafted comprehensive policy guidelines to transform the selection, employment, and management of independent consultants and consultancy firms across the government. This policy, the Cabinet will review and adapt, after which it will be formally launched by His Excellency President Joseph Joekai Sr., marking a significant departure from the immediate past corrupt consultancy practices. The government of Liberia, led by His Excellency President Josiah Joekai Sr., is steadfast in its commitment to transparency, accountability, and good governance in public finance management. Therefore, the CSA is fully committed and dedicated to attaining the arrest agenda and will take all necessary steps in accordance with the law to reform and professionalize the public service for improved performance and productivity. Before I take my seat, I'd like to do this. This is the draft copy of the consultancy policy that has been crafted. This policy is going to be reviewed by the cabinet. When approved, it's going to be launched by the president, and no consultancy, whether for independent consultants or consulting firms, will be carried out without applying the guidelines in this policy. At the CSA, we will go strictly by the books. We will follow the laws. We will do exactly what the law says. This is the pension laws, and we will follow this to the letter. This is the act creating the Civil Service Agency. We will follow the laws in this act. We have job descriptions for each spending entity, Mr. Minister, just to let you know. So this is the job description for the Ministry of Labor. We have this for other spending entities. However, there are some spending entities, when they join the civil service, we were performing function and mandate reviews, which has now been completed. So we are going to work with the Governance Commission to complete that process and produce these job descriptions for the remaining spending entities, so that every employment will be done in keeping with these descriptions. To be hired, your background must be consistent with these requirements. We have our Human Resources Policy Manual. We will follow this to the letter. All human resource directors from spending entities will have to conduct themselves in keeping with these guidelines. Anything to the contrary will not be accepted. We have the Civil Service Standing Orders of 2012. This is the guiding principle for me, my deputies, and the entire CSA. All of our actions we take are consistent with these orders, and we are following them to the letter. We have the Performance Management Policy. We will hold spending entities accountable to ensure that their employees perform consistent with the job requirements. We have instruments to appraise performances at the civil service level. So we will apply these rules to the latter. Finally, Mr. Minister, distinguished colleagues, and our precious media, I want to say that this is not the time for politics. This is the time for rebuilding. This is the time for national development, and everyone's role is required. The Civil Service Agency will do everything possible to ensure that we streamline our workforce, to make it efficient, to make it effective, so that we can deliver per the mandate of the Liberian people as a government. That's what we committed to. We don't know any political party, no political sentiments, no UP, no ALP, no CDC. What we see is a group of Liberians seeking to have jobs for them to contribute to the rebuilding of our country. But we have a responsibility as an agency to make sure that we hire the right people so that the right services can be provided efficiently and effectively. That is what we have been mandated by His Excellency to do, and we shall do it based on his mandate and based on the laws governing the civil service. On that note, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Minister, I thank you so much for the opportunity, and I can take questions.
Alright folks, that was the voice of the Director General of the CR7 agency, person of Honorable Josiah Joekai. Next is Asu Dole, Executive Director.
My name is Ansu
Liberia
Disaster Executive Director of the National Disaster Management Agency. Came along with my Deputy Director for Operation, Louis Morris, the Deputy Director for Administration, Otto Damon-Sega, Director for Legal, Eric Zia Limlet, Director for Training, Jemon Fezi Jakite, and the rest of them. The Honorable Jerolini Matthew Pia, Minister of Information, Culture and Tourism, other officials of government, special guests present, member of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Jeremiah Kwankun, and I, along with other dignitary, traveled to Chilltown, Riverside, where a total of 15 persons got entrapped and 11 persons died in a pit located in an abandoned gold mine, and a few other hospitalized as a result of soil that got loose and collapsed after being undermined by the illicit gold miners. The Vice President and entourage toward the site to get a first hand of the status of the mine and to see what measures central government can take to avoid the reoccurrence of said situation. He also spoke to families of the affected persons and members of the responding agencies on the ground, including the Ministry of Lands, Mines and Energy, Health, Justice, and the Armed Forces of Liberia, the Joint Security, the Liberia National Red Cross, the Environmental Protection Agency, the Riverside County Legislative Caucus, and the county and local government authorities. As Incident Commander, I want to use this occasion to appreciate all responding agencies and volunteers who took their time to put the situation under control. Your work will always be remembered because it was intended to save lives. Members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the President of Liberia, His Excellency Josiah Joekai, the Honorable Vice President presented several humanitarian items in cash to affected families, which include 200,000 Liberian dollars, 10 bags of rice, and a mattress to each family whose loved one has been hospitalized as a result of the incident. And Liberian dollar 100,000, 10 bags of rice, a mattress to each family whose loved one died during the disaster. The Honorable Vice President also presented 66 bags of rice and LD $50,000 to volunteers who helped in the response process. He used the occasion to express his empathy with the affected families. Secondly, 5 counties, Grand Bassa, Bom, Mangini, Mosoralo, Nima, were struck early yesterday morning by a windstorm from the west wind moving at a speed of 36 to 40 meters per hour, leaving over 800 homes seriously affected and damaging several critical infrastructures, including the offices of the Monrovia Consolidated School System, the MCSS, the African Methodist Episcopal Zion University, the AMEZU. Our data officers are still on the field since yesterday, verifying the numbers, and will report to you at the soonest possible time. Rural communities, people are advised to properly strengthen their roof of homes, public buildings. The rural communities are also advised to avoid deforestation. By the first week of the rainy season, the wind is projected to move between 45 to 47 meters per hour. The National Disaster Management Agency wants to remind all of its early warning again that based on the World Bank Group Climate Risk Profile 2024 for Liberia, predicting that rainfall patterns this year will increase, accompanied by rainstorm and a 1 meter sea level rise, which are expected to pose future health-related hazard of floods, impact, disease outbreak, and critical infrastructure for water, sanitation, hygiene, and may also lead to human injuries. The loss of life and livelihood. The public is advised to be on their alert again. Vulnerable communities along the coast of Liberia are advised to also be on their alert for coastal erosion as a result of the rising sea level. Based on these scientific prediction, it is predicted that over 150,000 Liberians are expected to fall prey to flood, windstorm, and coastal erosion this year alone, with over 60% getting affected in the coastal counties, and the remaining from the eastern, northern, and western regions. We earlier on, during our last press briefing, indicated to you that the prediction is a reality, it is not fake. That the windstorm will be moving from east to west, from Cape Palma to Cape Mount. You can see by evidence that indeed the windstorm have started and the sea erosion will be followed later. And so the alert is not just a bluff. It's a prediction based on scientific analysis. And those analyses, we have to pay heed to them, and so that we can save life. I want to let you know that the National Disaster Management Agency is in its preparedness when the hazard occur, be it human, natural, or other hazard. We are prepared, and we will be prepared. We want to thank the central government for giving us initial support in galvanizing resources that move us to reverses with the Vice President yesterday. We will rest temporarily.
Thank you.
We'd like to thank Honorable Josiah Joekai, the Director General of the Civil Service Agency, for his presentation. Honorable Ansuk Dole, the Executive Director for the National Disaster Management Agency, who also made a splendid presentation. At this juncture, I'd like for you to get in the queue. Please follow instruction. One question per presenter. Introduce yourself and ask the question. I ask you, our guests, to please take about 3 questions at a time, after which you will come on the national platform to respond.
The Executive Director of the Disaster Management Agency.
Thank you very much, Director. My name is Strobon Flama, and I report for Spoon FM.
Let me just say, even though you have one question, but if you have question for both of them, then you're allowed to take the two.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Like I said earlier on, my name is Strobon Flama, and I report for Spoon FM and TV. I guess this is not a wish hunt, though you didn't emphasize that, but politicians are trying to